Basketball 30.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Basketball 30 here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103. I'm Don Bowles. It's a pleasure having you with us today. We are featuring the Lynchburg Clay Mustangs along with the Lynchburg Clay Lady Mustangs as we get ready for high school basketball at its best. And sit back and relax because we're going to have a lot of fun as we talk to not only the coach for the team, but we have some of the seniors with us as well. And we're going to find out all about what their team's going to do, how good they're going to be, and what they think's got coming up right after this here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV.
Don't let a blown tire slow you down this harvest season. Trust Maggulac Tire Service in Hillsboro to keep you on the roll and in the field. At Maggulac, they offer on-the-farm ag tire service, saving you downtime and saving you money. Call Maggulac Tire Service for all your tire needs at 937-364-2592 or stop in on Route 50 in Hillsboro. That's 937-364-2592.
With all the financial headlines, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor, Ron Lynch, can help. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, we can work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 481 Tucker Drive in Maysville. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, joining us, it's the Lynchburg Clay Mustangs and new head coach Kyle Pertussit. Kyle, welcome back to the Shack.
Glad to be back.
Kyle, just in case people don't remember you, you were in the Shack at one time, coached at Manchester. Tell us a little bit about your background coaching and where you came from, how you qualify for this, and where you been.
Well, it's been quite the journey. You know, I've been coaching since I was 18, 19 years old. Started out at my alma mater at Memphis, coaching junior high and youth league basketball and just anything else you can imagine, AAU, travel ball, spring ball, summer ball, anything. And I always knew I wanted to do it, and I wanted to be a teacher alongside with that. I started out at Lucas High School in Mansfield, and up there a couple of years. I was kind of homesick and went back to Manchester. I was there for a year, and I won't get into that too much. But after that, I spent about 4 years in Kentucky at Jackson City and Heritage Academy. And the last 3 previous years, I've been actually at Cambridge High School up in the East District. And, you know, I always knew that I wanted to get back in the Southeast. And I recalled Lynchburg from back in 2013, I'd actually interviewed there, and I always thought it was a good spot and a good opportunity, so I kind of kept that in the back of my mind and pursued it again.
Okay, you said you always wanted to be a basketball coach. Did you want to be a player or did you want to be a coach?
I wanted to be a player first, but I realized quickly I probably wasn't going to go to the league or anything, so I started coaching.
What's the passion? What's the attraction?
Just staying involved in the game and staying competitive because obviously, you know, I've had 4 knee surgeries, 37 years old, knocking on 38 here pretty soon. I can't exactly get up and down the floor of my knees anymore. So this allows me to be competitive, stay involved in the game, continue to learn the game, you know, being around the kids as well, watch them improve.
Well, having been multiple places and been away for a while, and having been here and then left and gone some places and now back, Talk about the attraction of the Shack, Southern Hills Athletic Conference. How does it chalk up or match up against the other conferences or leagues you've been around?
I think it's a really good basketball league. I mean, it always has been. I remember growing up, even when I was playing, watching the Justices play. That's a little bit after me, but they've just always played good basketball. Really good basketball here, and you got great coaches. I mean, it's tough every night. You guys you got to go against. And it's just basketball is really important in this area. All these communities, they're small, rural communities, hardworking people, and they really take a lot of pride and passion in their basketball teams, and I think that's pretty cool.
Now, a lot of people talk about, especially being here on the river, of course, the difference between Kentucky basketball and Ohio basketball. Your thoughts? What do you think? Which one you like better, or maybe you like parts of one, parts of another?
Yeah, I think they both have their positives. One thing I really liked about Kentucky, which every time I tell people this in Ohio, they think I'm nuts, is you played 30 games. And the older I get...
You get, what, 1 day off a year, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, you get 1-2 week dead period. And other than that, you can take your entire team and play AAU with them if you want. There's
right.
Literally. So it kind of favors people who really want to work, which I liked, and I thought that really helped us at Jackson City a good bit. But I loved playing all the games because you know how it is. You get in the middle of the season, sometimes it's difficult for the players and even coaches at times to be motivated to go in and grind it out at practice. And when you have 3-4 games a week, I mean, you don't have a lot of that. You're learning on the fly.
Right.
I feel like over in Kentucky, sometimes maybe the transfer rules are a little bit looser, and I didn't prefer that, especially being at a single A school like I was. I felt like that kind of hurt us. But overall, I think both states have their positives and negatives.
What about style of basketball? People talk about, being more physical in Kentucky maybe and up and down. What do you think?
I think, I got a lot of friends in Kentucky, so I don't want to offend anybody. But I feel like there's more defense played in Ohio, at least in my experiences in Kentucky. But at the same time, I could also argue that I felt like there was a lot of really skilled kids in Kentucky. We have skilled kids, here in Ohio. I'm sitting next to 4 of them. But I felt like even the small, like 39 boys enrollments had kids in that school that could play. And I was always amazed, like Augusta, for example.
Right.
Augusta always has kids that can play, going back to, I think, Brett Bach was his name?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was a player. And, so I think they both have their positives and negatives. And, I enjoy both of them. Obviously, I'm an Ohio guy. Even when I went to Kentucky, I always knew that my path would eventually bring me back. So I'm going to say I like Ohio better. I think it's probably just a smart thing to say.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Lynchburg, specific to the basketball team. But first this, here on Basketball 30 on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Welcome to Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro, your local Chevrolet dealer for over 50 years. I am Steve Haig, owner, along with my twin daughters, Mindy and Mandy. We operate our family-owned business. We take care of our customers like friends and family. If you need a new Chevrolet or pre-owned vehicle, service, parts, or body shop, think of Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro. Proudly supporting the youth of our community. Stop in today for a great deal. Trade-ins welcome, financing available to qualified buyers.
I wanted to prove to myself that I could go to college and get my degree.
What if I went to Southern State? What if I'm able to go and become that nurse or that lawyer or that teacher? Southern State Community College allows students to rise above the circumstances that they're surrounded by and become something more than they ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back to Basketball 30, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm Don Bowles once again. With me, if you're just joining us, the Lynchburg Clay Mustangs high school basketball, Southern Hills Athletic Conference, Coach Kyle Pertusit joining us here. First-year coach, not a first-year coach in total, but first-year coach at Lynchburg Clay. Tell us a little bit about the team you're inheriting. Last year they had a certain degree of success, but they were very young. Let's talk about what you've got this year.
Yeah, they were very young last year. They won 10 games. And if you look at the roster, they essentially returned the entire roster. You know, they won 10 games, but if you watch and, you know, break down those 10 games like I did, there was nothing easy about those 10 games. They had to earn, they had to grind, get every single W they got. So it's one of those things where they were young last year and we have a lot of experience, but I feel like we're a team that can't take anything for granted.
Okay, what about this year? How are they going to be different from last year?
Anytime you play varsity basketball, you're going to gain a lot of experience. So the majority of our roster played valuable varsity minutes last year. Had multiple rotations and the starting role and coming off the bench, and had to play a different variety of ways and minutes and roles. So I think that's always beneficial going forward.
Style that you like, particular defense you favor, maybe offense, whatever. What can the fans expect to see when you come out and watch your team play?
I really like to get them down the floor really fast. You know, these guys know, because this summer we spent a lot of time working on our transition break and just getting the ball out of net and going and playing with pace and rhythm, you know, because I feel like it works in our favor the faster we are playing. At the same time, we got to learn when to go and when to slow it down. It's a balancing act. It really is. But I feel like basketball, when it looks the best and it's played the best, is played at a kind of a phonetic pace.
Sure. All right, let's meet the guys. Why don't you go around and introduce yourselves, guys, please?
I'm Asher Faust.
Jay Corger.
Cody Bell.
Caden Faust.
Okay, guys. And Asher, Coach talked about the summer. Let's describe to folks, what do you do in the summer? What's a basketball team do to get ready for basketball this season at Lynchburg?
Well, this year's a little different. We went to a basketball camp up in northern Ohio. Went there for 3 days. Played 4 times a day. It's pretty good for us.
Well, when you went up there, describe to you played 4 times a day. What did you take away from that? Is it just the act of playing, or what do you gain from that?
It was like scrimmages, no referees, up and down the court. You know.
All right, Jay, you talked about last season. We talked about you had a 10-win season. How'd that settle with the team? Is that where you thought the team, when you started last year, is that where you thought the team was going to end up?
I didn't really know how we were going to end up because we were such a young team. We didn't have any seniors to, take on the hard parts of the game. So it was kind of interesting. I didn't really know how we were going to end up. It just kind of happened that way. But yeah, every time that we would go into a game, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. So
games you played last year that you should have won and didn't. Can you remember any?
Not going to lie, no. But I felt like every game, other than a few, I knew every game was going to be pretty close. And like I said, there's no easy games. So whatever happened really happened.
Right. Now, with that said, do you think you got enough playing time last year?
Yeah, I think everything's fair. Whatever the coach says for me to do, I do.
There you go. So. All right. Okay. What about you, Cody? Your thoughts on this year's team versus last year's? You're pretty much the same team. How's the team changed even with the same personnel?
This year we got some seniors. We have lost 2 starters though. One to injury and one's just not playing. I don't think it'll necessarily hurt the team a ton. Last year we didn't have any varsity experience. I think there was 3 of us that had varsity experience going into that year, maybe 4. So it was just hard for us to, look at someone and depend on them to lead the team.
What about as far as the number of players that you depend on? How many players you think you'll be able to go deep this year?
We got a lot more. Bench is a lot deeper than last year, and guys can go in and playing fast. You got to have a bench that's deep. People are gonna get tired, and you just gotta sub them in. And I think we can depend on mostly everybody that's gonna be on varsity.
All of you, we were talking before we went on the air. All of you play multiple sports. Caden, cross country. Tell me how that translates to basketball. How can the skills that you've gained from your successes and failures, for that matter, in cross country?
Well, one thing that I've always succeeded in is probably the first month of practices and conditioning. I'm always ready to go. I've always had a lot of endurance, and so when you get real late in the game, fourth quarter, down by 3, you need those guys to have the energy to step up.
Yeah. Asher, you're still playing soccer, right?
Yeah.
How was soccer season?
Oh, this is our best season since I've been in high school. Finished the season 12-3-2. Got tournament on Thursday. Look to make a deep run.
So how do those skills, I mean, you do a lot of running. Let's face it, you don't kick a lot of basketballs, although that might be a thought sometimes. How do those skills translate over into the game?
The one-on-one breakdowns defenders can have, and then the pressing to get the ball back, it all translates to basketball.
Okay. Well, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back. We've got more to talk to the guys from Lynchburg Clay right after this on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Don't let a blown tire slow you down this harvest season. Trust Maggulac Tire Service in Hillsboro to keep you on the roll and in the field. At Maggulac, they offer on-the-farm ag tire service, saving you downtime and saving you money. Call Maggulac Tire Service for all your tire needs at 937-364-2592 or stop in on Route 50 in Hillsboro. That's 937-364-2592.
With all the financial headlines, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor, Ron Lynch, can help. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, we can work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 481 Tucker Drive in Maysville. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to Basketball 30 here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. Once again, I'm Don Bowles. With me, Coach Kyle Pertusit. Kyle, you got a good group of kids playing other sports. We were just talking about the kids and how it's got to make you feel good when you got a kid played cross country and run up and down the gym all day long. You've got soccer players used to the physicality, but there's a downside to that too, isn't there?
I mean, it depends on what you consider to be a downside. And I would call it sometimes there can be some adversity involved. If say for the soccer team, and I hope they do, if they make a real long run, they get to regionals, they may miss some practice. But, for the adversity that might cause from a basketball perspective, you could flip the other side of the coin and say, they're getting that winning culture and they're developing those expectations that could carry right over to basketball. So I would say any negatives would be pretty minimal compared to the overall positives for all of our athletes.
What do you think about this group as leadership? They have an inherited quality that a lot of kids don't have. A lot of the teams, they suddenly become seniors and they haven't been leaders going on. These kids have been, so to speak, the upper class for 2 years in a row. That should make a difference, I would think, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would. I think on this team this year, we're going to kind of be maybe leadership by committee. We all need to hold ourselves accountable and make sure we're meeting our standard on a daily basis, whether it be practice, shoot around, or a game. So I'm kind of looking forward to kind of how that shapes up. You only see so much of that during the summer.
Sure.
So, we got a pretty difficult preseason schedule that I've assembled, and I'm hoping to kind of get an idea where that's going to land during that.
Asher, team that the toughest team you run into, the toughest team in basketball to play.
I haven't looked much at our schedule this year, but it'd probably be North Adams. They've been running the shack for the last couple of years.
What makes them tough to play?
They're just skilled all around, got people that run up and down the court. They've been playing together since 5th, 6th grade.
Are they tougher to defend? Are they tougher to play offense against, or just generally across the board?
They're pretty tough to defend. All of them can shoot the three, and then they have a quick step to the basket. It all can hurt you.
Well, they're a ball club, though. I would think you guys ought to match up pretty well against, because they're not real big, though, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing about the shack. There's not a lot of big people, so we'll be able to match up with most of the teams. It just kind of depends if we can make shots every night.
Sure. Caden, last year, hardest player to play against, toughest player to play against, whether he graduated or didn't. What was the toughest player to play against?
Well, to bring up North Adams again, Landon Copus was by far the best player in the league last year.
And obviously he was a great player. What was the hardest thing about playing against him?
He was strong. He could shoot. Had a very quick first step. Strong with the ball. Just all around, just a great player. Really hard to defend.
Yeah, Cody, your thoughts as to biggest rivalry? Lynchburg, I mean, be it soccer, be it whoever. Who's the biggest rivalry within the league?
I don't really know. I feel like we kind of have rivals like within the whole shack, really. I mean, White Oak because they're so close to us. Fairfield because I don't think we've ever beat them. I mean, within the last 3 years at least. I mean, North Adams we haven't beat, so those are all games that we want to win. So we're gonna look at the game and prepare ourselves the best for it.
Sure. Okay, Cody, got a big question for you. 13 games in the season. How many games do you think Lynchburg Clay is going to win this year?
How many games are in the season?
13 in the league. 13 in the league season.
I think we're planning for 13, but to give you an actual answer, I mean, time will tell. I think we have a strong group of kids this year. So
okay, give me a number. Pick out a number. Last year you were 6-7.
I don't know. Let's just go 8 or 9.
Okay, there you go. So it'd be 9-4. All right. Now, sure. Asher, you didn't like the question you got earlier. I'm going to give you another one. Overall record. You play 22 just regular season. 22 games of regular season. How many do you think your team's going to win?
15-7 sounds pretty nice.
15-7. All right. Okay, Cody, what's the key to the? Okay, you heard what the guy said. What's the key to you guys winning 15 games? What are you going to have to do?
We got to make shots. Last year our shooting percentage was god awful. So making shots and then playing as a team, that's the keys to our team. Really keeping our heads in the game.
Sure.
Sometimes people they make mistakes and then they're out the rest of the game like mentally. So.
Right. All right, Caden, your thoughts on what the team's going to have to do to step up?
I can remember last year we definitely let our minds rest sometimes during some games. I think we just got to remember that every game we got to stay focused. We can't take games off, can't take days off in practice either. I think we just got to stay focused the whole year. All
right. Coach Pertussit, what do you think about their predictions and their thoughts about the team?
I mean, I think they're pretty reasonable expectations. I would like to add kind of what Cody said. We got to rebound the ball too. We got out-rebounded every single game last year, which is unacceptable. So, but I feel like the body of work that we've put in, especially in the weight room this summer, should hopefully offset some of that alongside just really drilling it and putting a point of emphasis on it in practice.
Well, when you talk about rebounding, I think some people forget rebounding's not all about size, is it?
No, I think it's more so just wanting the ball. Yeah, I'd say it's 75, 80% just having that burning desire and making a business decision that you're going to get the basketball, honestly.
Well, and one of the guys said something about, the league not being very big. Opportunity knocks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, but I will say not very big, but I do think it is a physical league. So if you're not willing to match the physicality of your opponent, you're probably not going to get a lot of rebounds. So we got to be willing to get the pain, just battle.
Now, underclassmen, how much is going to depend on them?
We'll depend on Denver Clinton a lot. He's a junior, and we got a couple other kids who are going to fill in those roles, and it's going to be really interesting. I tell people all the time when they ask me how we're doing, I kind of feel like from when you look at the roster, from arguably 3-4 on down to pretty deep in our bench, there's a lot of kids who they're not the same, but they're kind of equal in what they can give us. Some might give us a better look defensively. Others might be better shooting the basketball. Others may be able to give us more, basketball IQ. It's a wide variety we have with this group, and I think we're going to have to lean on a lot of different people depending on the circumstances.
All right, let's take one final break. We'll be back. We'll wrap things up here on Basketball 30 on Good Guys Radio TV and C103. But first, this.
Welcome to Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro, your local Chevrolet dealer for over 50 years. I am Steve Haig, owner, along with my twin daughters, Mindy and Mandy. We operate our family-owned business. We take care of our customers like friends and family. If you need a new Chevrolet or pre-owned vehicle, service, parts, or body shop, think of Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro. Proudly supporting the youth of our community. Stop in today for a great deal. Trade-ins welcome, financing available to qualified buyers.
I wanted to prove to myself that I could go to college and get my degree.
What if I went to Southern State? What if I'm able to go and become that nurse or that lawyer or that teacher? Southern State Community College allows students to rise above the circumstances that they're surrounded by and become something more than they ever dreamed possible.
We come back, ladies and gentlemen. Good Guys Radio, TV, and C103. We certainly hope you've enjoyed our broadcast. It's the Lynchburg Clay Mustangs. Make sure you join the entire series. And if you miss one of the episodes, all you have to do is go to your Facebook channel or go to our Facebook channel or our YouTube channel or goodguysradiotv.com. You can watch all of these featuring all 10 of the Shack teams plus Georgetown and Western Brown. So make sure you check it out. Coach Pickrell. I gave you a new job, Coach Bertussit. It's got to be tough coming in, and the expectations are always quick. Nobody accepts losing, right? The biggest challenge you face to get going and hit the ground running?
Probably just getting everybody in the same place at the same time. You know, I thought we had extraordinarily good attendance in summer. We had like open gyms in July. We'd have like 16, 17 kids, and we had 20 to 25 throughout most of June. But at the same time, it was never the exact same. So it's always kind of difficult in the summer when you come in and, you know, try to install the new offense all the way. Obviously, we got some foundational stuff done, but I feel like that's the biggest part, just getting everybody together, organized, and understanding exactly what we want to do and how we want to approach that.
Jay, you guys have a real nice pep band. You got a good student section. Tell everybody how important it is to come out and watch the Mustangs, not just at home, but away. How big a deal is it for you guys? How many games, let's put it this way. Let's say you said win 10 games in the league, all right? How many more games can you win if you have a great audience?
It really does make a huge difference having a crowd to support you. It's like a big shot a big shot can have a lot of momentum, but a big crowd can also just give you a lot more energy to go with, because sometimes you just feel really tired, and then you just hear your friends or someone yelling from the sideline. It just motivates you to keep going a little bit. So,
great. Thanks, guys. Sounds like a great place to end it. Everybody come out and watch the Lynchburg Clay Mustangs support Shack basketball. Once again, I'm Don Bowles. It's been Basketball 30 on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Don't let a blown tire slow you down this harvest season. Trust Maggulac Tire Service in Hillsboro to keep you on the roll and in the field. At Maggulac, they offer on-the-farm ag tire service, saving you downtime and saving you money. Call Maggulac Tire Service for all your tire needs at 937-364-2592 or stop in on Route 50 in Hillsboro. That's 937-364-2592.
With all the financial headlines, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor, Ron Lynch, can help. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, we can work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 481 Tucker Drive in Maysville. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Welcome to Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro, your local Chevrolet dealer for over 50 years. I am Steve Haig, owner, along with my twin daughters, Mindy and Mandy. We operate our family-owned business. We take care of our customers like friends and family. If you need a new Chevrolet or pre-owned vehicle, service, parts, or body shop, think of Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro. Proudly supporting the youth of our community. Stop in today for a great deal. Trade-ins welcome, financing available to qualified buyers.
I wanted to prove to myself that I could go to college and get my degree.
What if I went to Southern State? What if I'm able to go and become that nurse or that lawyer or that teacher? Southern State Community College allows students to rise above the circumstances that they're surrounded by and become something more than they ever dreamed possible.
Hi, everybody. It's Basketball 30 here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103. I'm Don Bowles, and welcome again to our preseason feature on high school basketball. Southern Hills Athletic Conference, today's feature, it's the Lynchburg Clay Mustangs and the Lady Mustangs. We're going to talk all about basketball, what's happening this year, what the predictions are. I might talk a little bit about what happened last year, as well as any changes going around in high school basketball in the state of Ohio. But first this, here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Don't let a blown tire slow you down this harvest season. Trust Maggie-Lack Tire Service in Hillsboro to keep you on the roll and in the field. At Maggie-Lack, they offer on-the-farm ag tire service, saving you downtime and saving you money. Call Maggie-Lack Tire Service for all your tire needs at 937-364-2592 or stop in on Route 50 in Hillsboro. That's 937-364-2592.
With all the financial headlines, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor, Ron Lynch, can help. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, we can work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 481 Tucker Drive in Maysville. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Basketball 30 here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103. Joining me today, it's the Lynchburg Clay Lady Mustangs. Whitney Lewis, the coach, longtime coach, I should say, for Lynchburg Clay, along with her senior Allie Waits. And Whitney, how many years has it been? I don't remember, actually.
Dawn, it's been, I think this is going to be my 14th year this year.
14 years.
14 years, yeah.
You, a lot of the coaches are coaching places where they didn't go to school and vice versa. You've never left Lynchburg, have you? Did you correspond in college or no? I'm only kidding. But you've never left Lynchburg, have you?
Lynchburg's my alma mater. Been there, went to school there, graduated there, and ended up coming back and following a great head coach in Linda Hatton, and just trying to keep the tradition of Lady Mustang basketball alive.
When you talk about following a great coach, how tough was it coming back and replacing the coach that you played for? And Linda had great success and raised the bar. How tough was that, actually?
It wasn't that tough because of the culture that she built, and just being able to kind of follow in that, being a part of her program and understanding what it takes to be a winning program. And the kids that we have go through our program is amazing, not just athletically, but just the people and the leaders that they are. So it makes my job pretty easy, actually. So I'm thankful for what she set forth for us, and kind of the tradition that Lady Mustang basketball is.
Well, let's go back a ways. High school basketball, I actually remember when you played. Let's talk a little bit about that. You were a 4-year starter, if I remember correctly. And I think your traditional role would have been a post player, but I think you played pretty much everything, didn't you?
I think at times I had to do a little bit of everything. Was fortunate enough to be a part of a really good group all 4 years. And, we kind of all played an important role in our success.
And when you talk now, were you a single sport athlete or did you play other sports?
I was a single sport athlete.
Okay, which, again, among the small schools, that's, the schools we have in the Shack, that's a bit unusual, isn't it?
Yeah. I had one passion, and that's just what it was.
Now, did you play a lot of AAU or summer ball and the like?
Yeah, I mean, basketball was my love, and that's kind of what I did all year round.
Went on and played at Wright State,
Yep.
my memory says. Had a fair amount of success, didn't you?
Yeah, we had some. My first year, we finally got to kind of the conference tournament and kind of had the success from there. So, really grateful for my experience playing those 4 years. It's a different level, and I learned a lot from my coaches, my teammates, on all the likes of playing at that level.
The Horizon League, right?
Horizon League, yep.
Okay, now I remember seeing you on TV. It was fun to do. When you talk to the kids today, the kids that are playing for you as a coach, we always talk to the parents about when they have the best 8th grade team in 24 states, and boy, they're going to win league championships, and they get to be freshmen in high school, and suddenly, it changes. What it was the same kind of leap, I assume, from high school to college, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, each level just has its own different bar, if you will. Jumping from high school to college is it's a different world. And like I said, I was fortunate enough to be able to do that, and very grateful for my time there.
Now, when we talk about that, how much of that experience in college did you use when you came back to coach? How much value did that bring? I mean, as a player is one thing, but coaching, because coaching is a completely different dynamic, isn't it?
No, it really is. Like I said, the experience as a player, going there and just understanding what it takes to be successful at every single level that there is, from high school to college, is something I think that I can take in my coaching toolbox. But also the coaching aspect of it, and just being around different coaches. And, in college we had 4 to 5 coaches on our staff, just responsible for different things, and just the input that they were able to give me. And I'm trying to make sure that I have that same give back for the players that I have today.
Well, and something I don't think I've talked to any of the other coaches about, but it kind of lends itself into this here on Basketball 30. I think people would be surprised at how blessed we are, the quality of coaching we have in the Shack. Some of the leagues don't have the quality that we have, do they?
Our coaches here, I mean, we get together every preseason and kind of just talk about the season to come, have a nice little dinner, if you will. And, if I need something, I can call any one of our colleagues and say, hey, what's going on here? And it's a good group to be with, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Okay, we're going to, on that note, we will be taking a break. We'll be back. And when we return, we're going to drill down just a little bit. We'll talk about Lynchburg Clay Lady Mustang basketball. But first this, here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Welcome to Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro, your local Chevrolet dealer for over 50 years. I am Steve Haig, owner, along with my twin daughters, Mindy and Mandy. We operate our family-owned business. We take care of our customers like friends and family. If you need a new Chevrolet or pre-owned vehicle, service, parts, or body shop, think of Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro. Proudly supporting the youth of our community. Stop in today for a great deal. Trade-ins welcome, financing available to qualified buyers.
I wanted to prove to myself that I could go to college and get my degree.
What if I went to Southern State? What if I'm able to go and become that nurse or that lawyer or that teacher? Southern State Community College allows students to rise above the circumstances that they're surrounded by and become something more than they ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back to Basketball 30. Once again, I'm Don Bowles. With me today, it's the Lynchburg Clay Lady Mustangs, Coach Whitney Lewis and Allie Waits from their 2024-25. Oh, my, 2025. Gee whiz. Anyway, Whitney, the coach, Whitney Lewis, the 14-year coach for the Lady Mustangs. Coach, I'm going to start out with a couple of changes. Ohio High School Athletic Association's divided the state into 7 divisions versus 4. How much is that going to affect your team, you think, this year?
I don't know. It's going to be a kind of a wait and see game. I think we're in Division 6. We may be one of the biggest schools in Division 6, and so that breakdown is going to look a lot different than it has in the past. I remember in years past, it's the Final Four. We're going to go to the Shot. We're going to go to Dayton, and all that is kind of different now. And so it's kind of a wait and see game, and how all that plays out. We're excited to see where we kind of fall within our division, and who we're matched up against versus who we have been in the past, and see what kind of success we can have there.
Well, predominantly, most of the teams in the Shack are in Division 6. We have, I think it's 3 in Division 5 and 2 in Division 7, so that leaves the other 5 in Division 6. And predominantly, you're going to see most of the teams you saw in the past and some of the smaller schools maybe. You might see some of the D4 schools, won't you?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of just it's new this year, right? And so what we're going to experience is going to be different than what we had in the past. We'll see some of those smaller schools that we're faced against, and, it's just going to be competitively, I think, evenly matched, and we'll see kind of where we fall.
We speak of the past. You've had some great degree of success at Lynchburg Clay. You've had some great players. You've won a lot of ball games. You've had great success going up through the tournament. Let's talk a little bit about last year. You lost some great players, didn't you, from graduating, didn't you?
Yeah, our senior class last year was really one of the top-notch groups that we've had. We graduated 4 seniors, probably 90% of our scoring from last year. And just tremendous athletes, and again, great players. I think that a few of them, I think 2 went on to play at the next level in college basketball. And, we're excited to see what this year brings and how we come back and be competitive.
Well, and moving now to this year, you've got a pretty good group of kids. You've got players that have had experience on the varsity level, but it's going to be a step-up challenge, isn't it?
Well, what's really neat about the group that we've got this year is that we've got that varsity experience. Like I said, we had a core senior group, but we've got our senior Allie here coming back. We've got juniors and sophomores this year that have gotten some varsity experience. So while we may look young on paper, that experience that they've had in the last few years for our sophomores just last year at that varsity level is, I think, going to play to our benefit.
Well, Lynchburg Clay, like all the other schools in our marketplace, small size schools with multiple sports offerings, and you have kids that are multi-sport athletes, and that affects your basketball program, doesn't it?
It does. I don't think it affects it necessarily in a bad way. We're getting ready to start preseason. We've got a few kids that are non-fall athletes that are going to be in our conditioning program for the next few weeks. And those that aren't are still chugging away with their fall sports. Our soccer program has always been very successful and play deep into the tournament. Our volleyball team this year is going to host a tournament game tomorrow, and so their success ultimately, I think, leads to our success too. The more that experience they have and the success they have at another sport, kind of bring that in, that culture, that feeling of, hey, we're going to do this, just kind of spreads.
Well, and taking that just a little bit more in depth, a lot of parents may remember back years ago where girls and boys even had freshman teams, and they have JV teams, and then they had varsity teams all within one program. With the multi-sports, they need to remember that years in the past, we didn't have soccer teams. We didn't necessarily have bowling teams. We didn't have a lot of the teams. And again, it's not necessarily a negative because it gives that many more kids an opportunity to participate, but it absolutely affects the numbers that you have out for your teams, doesn't it?
Basketball it's a grueling sport for the most part. There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. And then, we get started here in the middle of October and don't get done until, hopefully March. And so that's a long season. It's a big commitment. And our kids that go through the program, they're dedicated and they want to get better. So they're putting in time and effort, and they're working really hard. And so that takes a lot of commitment. And then jumping from one sport to the next too. So our athletes they're here, they're giving everything they can to the program, and that's what makes us top notch.
Let's be specific about your team. What are we going to see different from last year? Style of play, defense, whatever. You have a particular style. Tell us your favorite style of basketball. If you had all the players you want, what would you be running?
Favorite style of basketball? I'm a run and gun type person, I guess you could say. I like to watch that type of fun style basketball. North Carolina fast breaks, all that good stuff. Given a perfect world, that's what I'd love to watch and be a part of.
What about defensively? Or are we just going to forget the defense?
No, I enjoy defense. Defense is fun. Defense creates chaos, and I enjoy chaos. So, on the line, up the line, trying to pressure the basketball as much as you can. But I'm also a firm believer in to do what's best for your team's strengths too. So, this year we're going to get our players on the floor and see what matches us best and go with that. We're going to look to be successful.
So you like those outlet passes and the like, getting out and getting it done, right?
Alley in the corner for the 3, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds like a formula. On that note, we'll take another quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the makeup this year on the Lady Mustangs, and we'll also meet our senior, Allie Waits, right after this here on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.
Don't let a blown tire slow you down this harvest season. Trust Maggie Lack Tire Service in Hillsboro to keep you on the roll and in the field. At Maggie Lack, they offer on-the-farm ag tire service. saving you downtime and saving you money. Call Maggulac Tire Service for all your tire needs at 937-364-2592 or stop in on Route 50 in Hillsboro. That's 937-364-2592.
With all the financial headlines, are you wondering if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. Your Edward Jones financial advisor, Ron Lynch, can help. If you have more questions than answers about what's next, we can work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by our office at 481 Tucker Drive in Maysville. Edward Jones, making sense of investing, member SIPC.
Welcome back again to Basketball 30. It's the Lynchburg Clay Lady Mustangs with us here in this episode. And joining us, we're going to go right to talking about the team and to the teammates. Only one senior, Allie Waits. Allie, how are you?
Good.
What's it feel like? I mean, you come away, last year's class had 5,000 seniors, and you're the only senior. That's a big load, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully.
When we talk about it, tell me about that role. What role do you play on the team?
Usually just wherever she puts me, I try to do the best I can to do whatever the team needs.
When we talk about things that seniors do, most people always talk about leadership roles and the like. How much will that affect your team having lost 4 seniors last year?
I think it'll probably have a pretty big impact, but hopefully me and then some of the juniors can step up and try to get those younger girls.
Well, when you were an underclassman, did that affect you a lot when you came to the team as an underclassman? Did you really pay attention to what the seniors and the upperclassmen did?
Yeah, I've always really looked up to the class ahead of me because they were always good and they were always really successful.
Now, is that something? Tell us a little bit about how you're going to, enact that role. What are you going to do to make the team better?
Just try to give them confidence. I know, like Whitney said, we're losing a lot of scoring from last year, so hopefully we can just get something going and have a good season.
Yeah, now Whitney and I were talking on our last, before we took our break there, about an outlet pass and Allie in the corner for a 3. Tell me about Allie's basketball game. What's your favorite part?
Probably I like defense a lot. It's exciting to get a good stop and then get to have that outlet pass and make a transition play.
Okay, now you don't like shooting those threes?
I do, yeah.
Sometimes I got to yell at her to shoot a little bit more. So this season we might be yelling a little bit more for her to pull up that jumper.
Well, and to that point, Whitney, a lot of people don't realize that the coaches really want most players to shoot more often. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, like I said, we lost 4 seniors last year, and a lot of that scoring responsibility fell on them. This year, that role has to change a little bit, and Allie's going to be one of those people that's going to have to step in and fill those roles. She was kind of a sneaky person last year. We were able to get her the ball, and here she comes for that open shot and is able to hit it, or a little floater in the middle. And so now we're going to be looking at her to kind of produce that a little bit more, and I'm excited to see that happen for her.
Allie, when we talk about, you said you like defense. You like man-to-man, you like play zone, you like to steal the ball. Just what is, again, let's go a little further in your role with defensively.
I like playing zones and trying to get in the passing lanes and just getting steals and, again, getting out in transition, because I think that's when we play best, is when we're in transition. Favorite
team to play against?
North Adams is always an exciting game. They're always really good, and it always makes for a good environment to play in.
Well, it's why is it exciting? I mean, you lose to them sometimes. They lose to you sometimes.
Yeah, it's just,
what's the excitement part of it?
I think it's always been a rivalry because some of us have played together with people on their team, so it just kind of makes for a good rivalry.
Now, when you talk about playing with people on the team, we're talking about, of course, summer ball, AAU, whatever you want to call it. Does that make it better when you know the players on the other team, or no?
Yeah, I think it makes it more exciting because, I mean, you know what they're going to try to do, so you just try to play against that, and they know what you're going to try to do, so you just try to judge what they're going to do and get after it that way.
Is it, often we talk about, when we do broadcasting, we talk about that I think the fans miss that there's nobody out there on the floor that wants to fail. Nobody misses a foul shot because they want to miss a foul shot or miss a three-pointer or I don't know, not play good defense or whatever. How important is it to win the ball game? How important is it to win that, to make that 3?
It's really important. I mean, it obviously boosts our confidence a lot when we do win and hit those shots down the stretch. So,
Okay, from your perspective as a player, tell us about the team this year.
like Whitney said, we're really young. We have a lot of young people. So, I mean, we saw in the summer, I think once we all get together and start practicing and just get more comfortable playing with each other, because a lot of the younger ones didn't have a whole lot of playing time last year on varsity just because they were young and we had a lot of talent ahead of us. I think we'll all really come together really nice once we start playing more.
You going to be a big team, small team? What?
Small, definitely. We don't have a lot of size.
And that, again, is going to be a bit of a difference from what you had in the past, too,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
now here's your special moment. Give me a prediction of what Lynchburg Clay's record is going to be in the Shack this year.
How many games do we play?
13.
13. I'll say 8-5.
8-5. Okay, what about overall? You play 22 games. How many
22.
will you win?
I'll say 15.
Okay. Coach, what do you think?
Don's putting us on the spot today.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Well, this is more the fans. What do the fans want to know? The fans want to hear you say, "Oh, we're going to win 22 of them," right?
It'll be 22-0.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't like those type of predictions, Don. I really don't. I think that we're going to come into this season with the mentality for success, and I think that we're going to surprise a lot of people, and I think that our record is going to tell that.
And that's why I didn't ask her the question and not you. See, remember, I didn't ask you how many you were going to win. I asked her. So, but do you like your team this year?
Don, I really do. Everybody that's going to come out, I think that they're going to work hard. I like where their work ethic is going to be, their mentality. Al's going to play a big part in that and just leading that. You know, she's kind of like the silent assassin, if you will, not real vocal or is going to stand on the chairs and scream up and down. She's going to be more of a leader by example, and I think that if our kids do that and lead by her example, then, like I said, we're going to have a really successful season.
Okay, one final break. We'll be back with more on Good Guys Radio TV and C103. It's Basketball 30.
Welcome to Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro, your local Chevrolet dealer for over 50 years. I am Steve Haig, owner, along with my twin daughters, Mindy and Mandy. We operate our family-owned business. We take care of our customers like friends and family. If you need a new Chevrolet or pre-owned vehicle, service, parts, or body shop, think of Jerry Haig Motors in Hillsboro. Proudly supporting the youth of our community. Stop in today for a great deal. Trade-ins welcome, financing available to qualified buyers.
I wanted to prove to myself that I could go to college and get my degree.
What if I went to Southern State? What if I'm able to go and become that nurse or that lawyer or that teacher? Southern State Community College allows students to rise above the circumstances that they're surrounded by and become something more than they ever dreamed possible.
Welcome back once again to Basketball 30 here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. And Allie, this talk about one final thing I'm going to ask you. We talk about sometimes, I talk about the parents, I talk about the coaches, we talk about how much does it affect your game if a lot of people come out and watch you play?
I definitely think it makes us play better. It gets us more nervous, which I think gets us more excited to play. So
what would you suggest to people? I mean, obviously you tell them to come, but if they haven't been coming to your games, what are they missing?
Just good basketball. I mean, like I said, I think once we all come together and get to practicing, it'll make for a really exciting season.
All right. Whitney, just kind of a summary of what we talked about. Your ball club and the league this year. The league's going to be pretty challenging, as it always is. Who do you like as far as strength in the league this year?
You know, that's always a tough question to answer too. Like you said, I think our league is one of the toughest leagues out there. The last few years, of course, it'll look different this year with the new divisions. But you're always looking at the tournament brackets and thinking, oh wow, man, this is going to be a battle. I mean, we're competing against our league every single night, and then we're going out competing against other leagues, and so it's always going to be a challenge. You know, every single night you got to come up there and show up and compete. And I think our league, our strength is in that. And I think it shows for us as an entire league when we go to tournaments, and you're able to see that with our tournament success as a whole within our league. So, our divisions are broken down, and like I said, we got to show up every single night to compete to make sure that we're on the boards.
Well, and I know probably, again, the folks at home watching or listening, they probably don't look at it this way, but they think, okay, you should be a rivalry with, with Fayetteville because your schools adjoin each other. But Allie mentioned immediately North Adams. It's the rivalries within the league are not, yes, they're geographic. There's no question you'd like to beat the Highland County team, so to speak. But the rivalries are there among all the schools, aren't they?
Yeah, and like Allie said, it just kind of depends. Some years it'll be one school over an next just because of some of the relationships that the girls have formed. And nowadays you don't have to go to the same school to know each other. And so I found, I think that's a transition for me too, is that our players know other players, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're playing this team, we got to be ready to go, coach. And I'm like, okay, well, we're ready to go for every game, but why this game? Well, I played with her over the summer. I played soccer with her. Like we can't lose to her. I got to buy her dinner, whatever, and however that works. But and so that's kind of just the neat thing, is that we're all connected. Every school and the kids within the schools kind of know each other, and I think that adds to the rivalry. You had mentioned to Allie before about the crowds, and when we play North Adams, whether we're at home or at their place, there always seems to be a pretty big crowd there, student sections and things like that. And so that's what makes basketball fun. And I think this too, it kind of adds to it, and just getting the word out that our league is pretty good basketball, and if you don't come, you're missing out, and just being there for that competitiveness.
I think that's a great thing to end it with. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Basketball 30, featuring Whitney Lewis and Allie Waits from the Lynchburg Clay Lady Mustangs. We hope this gives you an incentive to come out and watch some ball games. And, of course, if you can't do that, we always want you to listen on C103 and watch the games on Good Guys Radio TV. But the neat thing is you can also attend and come back and watch watch our broadcasts on an archive later. But the big thing is get out and support the kids. They work very, very hard, and they put in a lot of time in the gym. And it's not always about winning and losing games. It's all about the effort. Once again, we thank you for joining us. I'm Don Bowles on Good Guys Radio TV and C103.